So Fallout 4 has some amazing art, yet a thing that has always bugged me is just how little armor the sole survivor is shown wearing. But today we're going to answer the question if all that armor we wear is truly necessary. Today, we find out if you can beat Fallout 4 survival as the ideal sole survivor. The playthrough started off pretty normal. I walked out of my shower, talked to my British robot, and then spoke to everyone's least favorite salesman. After doing that, I created the perfect character for this challenge, one who would get me through the grueling task of completing one of the easiest campaigns in Fallout, on the hardest mode. After speaking to the salesman, I realized the mistake of becoming a mother, and vowed to one day rid myself of this weird-looking baby once and for all with a nuke. Seeing my opportunity present itself, I ran to the vault, leaving behind my husband and child in hopes of finding a better life underground, only for them to live, unlike my will to keep going. Sadly, they got to the vault before it was lowered underground, seconds before the bombs would have killed them. Luckily, my husband was shot by a bald angel in disguise. However, he left the job unfinished by not shooting my baby as well. So, not accepting the fact that my baby may be able to live, I escaped the cryopod, beat up some bugs, quenched my thirst, and left the vault. After leaving the vault, I went back to my robot butler, beat him like the dominatrix I am, and then did my first upgrades on one of my only weapons in this playthrough. Eventually, I left Sanctuary only to find Dogmeat, who totally wouldn't be left behind for half of the playthrough. Concord was my first test of combat, and it went pretty well, seeing it was the beginning of the game. That was until I spoke to the Minutemen. Got my power armor to progress the quest, then began fighting the Raider reinforcements, only to die by Van Physics. Round 2 of Concord started off with me missing an embarrassing amount of shots on raiders, moving a corpse on top of some ammo, and then exiting the museum to spawn the Deathclaw to fight the raiders instead of me. However, a problem popped into my head when I realized the Deathclaw was barely taking damage from the raiders. How would I kill this thing? Luckily, I was able to conserve enough ammo to chip away at the beast's health like the tactical genius I am, even taking some time to celebrate before saving my dog. After the fight, I spoke to the local chem head, gave myself a bed at Red Rocket, and finally began my path to Diamond City. I started my journey to Diamond City by doing some shopping in preparation for the future. It would be the first of many times I spent my caps on mostly food and water. Afterwards, at a diner, I helped out some thugs get some money out of an old lady, then made my way to help Dance and his group of robo-races fight off some ghouls. On the final stretch to Diamond City, I helped a man kill himself, kinda, snuck past some raiders living on a yacht, and fought some super mutants. Immediately after reaching the gate to Diamond City, I helped Piper get back to her shitty one-bedroom home by lying, shit-talked the mayor of the town, before finally making my way in. I immediately went to continue the main quest by starting the quest to rescue Nick, and did the best interview of my life.
It was just me and 1,000 guinea pigs. They turned carnivorous.
Okay, I guess we're gonna have to go with the satirical approach.
You're all living in rusty shacks, killing each other, and oh my god, the smell.
Okay, that's gonna be a fun one to quote.
Then off I went with Dogmeat to save Nick Valentine, having a close call with a raider along the way. Once reaching Park Street Station, I fought some old-time mobsters, a lot of old-time mobsters, rescued Nick only to fight more and die to Post Malone. Second time around, using the power of drugs, I won the fight. As I was returning to Diamond City, I window shopped from a woman who was on more drugs than me, then sat down to explain my elaborate plan to kill my own child to Nick, which he was on board with, if it meant breaking and entering was involved. I then spoke to my dog, as if his AI was at all smart enough to understand me, and followed him on his path to enlightenment. Along the way, I went through several fights, some more unfair than others, like fighting mutants, raiders, and a fucking bear all at once, which of course led to my death. I did all of it again only to die by a mine, since I didn't get a prompt to disarm it. The third time around, I showcased Bethesda's game design and fought plenty of ghouls before finding Jay Schlatt and being scared by turrets. Actually getting to Kellogg was kind of a challenge on its own. I went through 17 deaths easily before I was able to get to him, and a couple of those deaths were a bit more brutal than I knew Fallout 4 could provide. However, after making it to the prep room, I went inside and yelled at him to give me back my child, opting to leave out the reasons why I wanted to give him back. What I didn't expect was that Kellogg could two-shot me easily. So I decided to do some equipment acquisition. After reverting a save to Fort Hangman, I spent most of my time leveling by any means, mainly through some light murder, the Brotherhood of Seal's main questline, and some settlement building. I even made Red Rocket into a perfect home of mine, with some imaginary friends and a weight bench. However, while I was leveling, I also bought and found a lot of mines, enough to one-shot Kellogg like the cheating bastard I am, killing synths along the way, and began placing mines behind him. Finally, I spoke to Kellogg, trying to warn him of his fate. He didn't listen, of course, which meant I got to hide behind a desk while 15 mines blew up around me. Of course, before healing my dog, I jumped for joy and teabagged his corpse as much as I felt was necessary for making me waste another 3 hours of my life. With my fate of a giant metal condom floating above me as I left Fort Hudgens, I knew that the Brotherhood of Steel would be the perfect tool to use to nuke my son. First, I needed to head to Diamond City, speak to Nick and Piper, and fight some ghouls on the way to Good Neighbor. Once I made it there, I met everyone's favorite politician, the most annoying doctor, and relived the memory of my husband losing his 1v2. What a bot. Afterwards, I began my trek to Virgil in the Glowing Sea, home of everything deadly. Or, in reality, a couple deathclaws and a lot of rad scorpions. On my way to him, I met a couple homeless people, confirming that America is still not friendly to the homeless. However, minutes later, I was met face to face with Bruce Banner. After quickly leaving the Glowing Sea, I met a crazy lady, got scared by a death robot, and some sudden screaming on my way back to the safe place to rest. After doing some self-care, I quickly made my way to the CIT ruins and tracked down the location of an Institute courser. Now, this place wasn't all that difficult. I actually made it through here without a single death, simply by using all the cheese tactics I could find, alongside the liberal use of drugs once I got to the courser himself. Right after killing him, I followed the Freedom Trail, only to spend more time killing ghouls than talking to the actual railroad. I seriously hate this faction. It was almost the end, so of course, after leaving the church, I nearly lost several hours of progress to getting stuck. However, using my elite knowledge of broken physics, I escaped by levitation. However, my second trek out to Virgil was much more exciting, witnessing explosions, fighting bears, and giving some grenades to mutants. I still had to walk the whole way, sadly. I hadn't earned the power of flight yet. Eventually, I spoke to the Green Man again, but by this time, I was beyond hungry, thirsty, and tired. I mean, my way back was a long, slow crawl. I was so desperate to avoid doing this again that I even murdered the crazy lady just so I could sleep. After my rest, I finally went back to the police station and took a quick flight up to the Pridwin, immediately accepting the mission to clear Fort Strong, which was just as cool as my first time doing it. I really liked the Brotherhood. However, after this point, I realized I was strong enough to where the game was less about surviving hits and more about not getting hit at all. I was able to clear out rooms of super mutants with ease, and anything with laser weapons was even easier because of my leather armor, even if it was just 3 pieces. So with some enemies slaughtered, I built the teleporter to the Institute, made my way inside, and giggled at Nora's face during this conversation with Robo-Shawn. Once I was inside the Institute, I had to fight an Assaultron in order to get Dr. Lee on my side, but not so long after, I spent several minutes throwing a cat corpse. Yeah, getting Dr. Lee on my side, after all, wasn't all that difficult. So with that out of the way, I can show you why I chose the Brotherhood. Simply put, I wanted to fast travel. The only way to do that is by using Vertibird signal grenades. Simply throwing one of these allows me to get a free ride anywhere on the map that I wanted. So after some more mutant slaying to get a high-powered magnet, I built some things and made my final trek into the Glowing Sea to get nukes. I did have to fight some ghouls and convince a religious freak that I wasn't bad before I took a ride back to the Pridwin. Don't I look excited? Being the die-hard soldier that I am, I of course popped Dance's head like it was a balloon, and wiped out the most annoying faction of the game with little more than a nuke grenade and 5 minutes of shooting. After another badass battle in the air, I landed on the mass fusion building, took an elevator down before I was attacked by a robo-terrorist, and battled some more Siths that tried to ambush me once I exited the elevator. Finally, I cleared out the Assaultrons in the basement and had the closest experience to death in my entire life playing this game. I spent 3 minutes getting over how close to impossible living through this was. However, I still had to peek shoot some more robots and androids, which was easy enough, all before I powered Liberty Prime.
Liberty Prime. Full system analysis. All systems nominal. Weapons hot. Mission: the destruction of any and all Chinese communists. Probability of Chinese victory: impossible.
Brotherhood, salute!
And Victorium! Proceeding to target coordinates.
The walk to the Institute was pretty boring, but I was able to get through it easily. Once inside, I nearly got dropped by Harambe, before spending literally an hour surrounding Sean with the money I had on me. After all, no man deserves to die without bread in his hands. I quickly placed down the explosive to destroy this place before being teleported out, telling my wannabe child that there isn't DNA proof that he's mine, and gun-bashing Maxon's nose in. Then I get teleported out of the Institute and press the button to end this playthrough. And there you have it. You can beat Fallout 4 on survival as the ideal sole survivor. Honestly, this challenge was pretty fun, even if it was easy at the end. If you'd like it to be more challenging in the future, let me know in the comments below. But beyond that, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, as I spent more time than I'd like to admit working on it. Most of all, big shout out to Mitten Squad and Nerbit for being the main inspirations for this video. They do this much better than I do. If you want to see more of my videos, be sure to subscribe. I post a variety of stuff that I'm sure you could enjoy. Regardless, your support on this video is appreciated. Thanks for watching again, and I will see you all in the next video.